What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop. So naturally with the reveal of any new Pokemon game, we'll instantly see a flood of new rumors, supposed leaks, and fan art showcasing what was just revealed. And in the case of Pokemon Sword and Shield, a large amount of that focus is of course going to be on the starters, since they were probably the main feature of what was shown off in this initial reveal. It's only been a couple of weeks, but the internet has already been swarmed with ideas and artwork of what the starter evolutions could look like. Some of them are just for fun, some are attempting to pass themselves off as leaks, spoiler, it's like 99.9% likely that they're not, and even though they're probably nothing like what we will actually get, they're still a lot of fun and very enjoyable, and today I'm going to count down my top 5 evolution ideas for the starters in Sword and Shield. Now, we're not going to be highlighting one starter over the other or anything like that, this is just going to be an all things considered, straight up the top 5 best evolution concepts with all of the starters in consideration that I could find in my own opinion. Also, if the artist of any of these is currently known, as like I said, some of them are claiming to be leaks, that will be credited in the description as well. That's pretty much the gist of the video though, so without any further delay, let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so at number 5 is one of those ones I mentioned that's trying to pass itself off as a leak, and even though I haven't really been following the progression of this one, so I can't say if it's been debunked or not, even though in my opinion it's definitely not real, I still think it does a solid job of capturing the idea of a fire bunny Pokemon. With the final evolution in particular, I feel like a rabbit Pokemon can be difficult to pull off well, because it can be easy to fall into furry territory, and that's just a can of worms you do not want to open if you want to make a cool starter Pokemon that everyone can love. With that said, like I mentioned, the final evolution to this hypothetical Scorbunny line does a good job in my opinion of being a cool looking Pokemon without being too basic, predictable, or furry-esque, and for those reasons I feel like it's done just enough to make my top 5 list. Next up at number 4 is this concept for a final Grookey evolution, and this seems to be another one of those leak type of artworks. Once again, I don't follow leaks that closely, so I don't really know the status of it, but overall this is a really nice design. I think it's taken Grookey's design and transitioned it into a bigger, fully evolved form really well, and I also like how it took the possible baseball/cricket inspiration from Grookey and expanded it into a more prominent part of its design. Although it seems now, thanks to the meanings behind Grookey's international names, that Grookey actually has a music inspiration as opposed to a sports-based one. Another thing from this that makes me extremely hesitant though is the major focus of the bat and ball that comes from the whole baseball inspiration. Whenever a Pokemon has an object like this as part of its design, I'm not really a fan of it because it's not actually a part of the Pokemon, it's just an inanimate object that it carries around, and I feel like incorporating that into its design kind of takes away from the actual Pokemon itself, but it obviously still made it into the number 4 spot because it's still a great looking design and the quality of the artwork is fantastic too, which really goes a long way into making a design that can be believed as the real thing, even if it actually isn't. In at the number 3 spot, we now have an evolution line for Sobble, coming from the same leak as the evolutions for Scorbunny that we talked about earlier. Now, this one can only make it so far because even though it does seem to incorporate an English medieval knight sort of design for the final evolution, and even though I do think it's really cool, it does also have a very distinctive stealth type of look to it that in my opinion is very reminiscent of Greninja, and simply put, Game Freak is not going to recycle themes like this within starter Pokemon so quickly, especially within the same exact type of starter Pokemon. But even though that limits how far it can climb on my list, I still really do like the look of these a lot, especially when it comes to the final evolution. The whole medieval knight inspiration isn't really something people are talking about as a possibility for Sobble, but the idea is still really cool to see, and even though that stealth design isn't practical, I still think it looks really nice and has a really nice vibe to it that I enjoy a lot, even if it isn't exactly very likely. Okay, we have officially made it to the number 2 spot, and this is where the designs really start to ramp up in quality, because we've got this beautiful concept for a final Sobble evolution, the artist of which will be linked in the description if I can find one and or if they've revealed themselves. Now, I don't think I really need to explain to you why this one is so great, because it's pretty self-evident that this thing is just totally awesome. I mentioned in my number 4 pick how the quality of the art itself and accuracy to the Sugimori style goes a long way for the quality of any concept or leak like this, and this one just nails it right on the head. There's just something about these concept pages where it's basically the final artwork, just without that last little bit of polish, and where it shows the Pokemon in a variety of different poses that really give it a bigger sense of realism, and I think it has something to do with the thoughtfulness of it all, combined with these type of concept pages literally leaking the actual Alola starters in the last generation. As far as what I actually like about the design specifically though, I think it looks really cool. As I said, it's got a really sleek look for a lizard amphibian-esque Pokemon, and it just expands on Sobble's design perfectly in a way that does not feel forced whatsoever, unlike many other starter evolution concepts often do. Under normal circumstances, I'd be hard-pressed to say there's anything else out there in the fan community that looks better than this guy, but since we are at number 2, I was actually able to do just that. Taking the number 1 spot in this video, we have what was also probably the first leaked image of a starter evolution to hit the internet as well, and that would be this amazing design of a Scorbunny final evolution. Now, from what I've heard, it seems that the artist of this has already came out and proven it's fake, as if we couldn't tell that already, what with the female sun and moon protagonist being used as a height comparison for the Pokemon. Yep, that seems totally legit for Pokemon Sword and Shield, but that is literally the only criticism I have of this, because other than that, it's amazing. I just mentioned in our previous pick how I'd normally be hard-pressed to find something that looked better than that Sobble evolution, but this is the exact type of thing that will always top any kind of Pokemon design list for me. While the Sobble evolution is great, it's more or less just a lizard, and while there's nothing wrong with that type of design approach, it cannot hold a candle, in my opinion, to designs like this Scorbunny evolution that effortlessly blend multiple inspirations together that have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So for instance, obviously this guy is based on a rabbit, but then it's also got a robot mech thing going on, and then it's also got inspirations of a jet, as you can see with the shape of its ears and pilot helmet visor type thing that it's got around its eyes. Blending things like this into something that not only works but also makes sense anatomically and looks really cool is extremely difficult, and seeing how this one pulls it off so effortlessly really shows how much of a professional level Pokemon design this is, and even though it's not real, is absolutely awesome in every way imaginable, and that's why it gets the number 1 spot. And there we have it, everybody. Since we just barely got the reveal of the starters a couple weeks ago, it'll probably be a while before we see their official evolution. So in the meantime, it's also fun to speculate and look at some amazing art of what we could potentially see once they are officially revealed. If you guys enjoyed the video though, be sure to give it a like, and let me know in the comments below what you think of these designs and what you would like to see for the evolutions of the Galar region starters. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more new Pokemon content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and give me a follow on Spotify for my Pokemon remixes if you'd like, to further support the channel as well, which would be greatly appreciated. With all of that being said though, I will be back with another video on Thursday, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be notified as soon as it goes live, and with all of that being said, you know I love you guys, and I will smell you guys later.